Hello, we're the geeks and the degenerates, and today, well, this month seems appropriate to talk about Black Panther
Why?
because it's right around the corner, and to celebrate Chadwick Boseman's life.
Right. It's Black Panther 2 is showing soon.
Yeah, like November.
Wait,
Oh,
what?
okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I was like, wait a minute. I was trying to think. I was like, is it the Woman King?
I was like, is it next month?
Right? Same here. I was like, this is your celebrations are so off.
Well, October's full of horror movies, so like it's not our choice, but like uh, this month and like next month. So yeah.
Okay.
We only have 2 months to think about this, guys. You gotta hurry up.
Wait. So you're just like, I just want to do it. There's nothing appropriate about it or any occasion. You just want to do it.
Yeah, we just like Black Panther. Why not? But yeah.
Okay.
We can go with that. We can go with that.
Yeah. But yeah, were you hyped for this movie?
Yes. Especially
Yes.
hearing like, was this Kendrick Lamar? Every time they put Kendrick in a trailer, I'm like, I'm in. Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
And yeah, like first time seeing black like main story is about the black superheroes. I was like, all right. Besides Hancock, that was kind of it. This one's actually really good.
Again, my first encounter with Black Panther was in Ultimate Avengers. Ultimate Avengers 2.
Yeah.
Where they're fighting the Chitauri again because apparently they didn't get rid of them all.
They're not a hive mind there.
Kind of a hive mind still, but like they're fighting one of the Nazi generals that Captain America fought against. It turned out to be like a Chitauri, like
Okay.
this like high-ranking Chitauri officer. And at the start of the movie, the Chitauri officer kills T'Chaka. Yeah, and there's this really, really cool and really solemn ceremony for the funeral of T'Chaka, and now T'Challa is looking for him, and actually, it's roughly the same as what happened in Civil War.
Okay.
And I was hyped for this because I like how Black Panther fought in Civil War. I may have a problem with how like
He fights here with like the purple energy stuff.
No, I had a problem generally with how he was set up. Like, he was the first guy, I guess, to snap out of it, but he white privileged his way into finding Zemo, and I didn't like that. Like, I found him to be very irresponsible. But then I have a lot of critiques on that movie in general. But like, I like Chadwick. He felt like the T'Challa I was waiting for, I was hoping to get. And that suit looked amazing. The Civil War suit, I mean.
Yes. At the same.
And I read the Ta-Nehisi Coates run of Black Panther, so I am emotionally attached to the suit, regardless of what happened. Like, it looked like X-Men 1 after a certain part. Like, there's this part where they're fighting in the fucking mining facility with the trains
The
and
train,
shit.
yeah.
And it was literally the same thing Wolverine did in the Statue of Liberty thing where he was fighting Sabretooth.
Yeah.
We can like put those shots side by side and it's the same thing. But I did like Black Panther minus the action. I actually thought the Black Panther fight scenes could have been a lot better, since Black Panther is praised very highly. Like I think at par with Steve Rogers, if not better, in the comics for hand-to-hand combat.
Yep.
But we didn't get to see a lot of that here. We got to see the tech side, and I really love the suit. I've read a lot of the Ta-Nehisi stuff, and it's more political than action-based, which this movie technically was, so they very much delivered on the Ta-Nehisi Coates vibe of things. I just wish the CG was better. I wish that Marvel would have like put more chips into this being good.
Yeah.
Because I think they bet on it flopping, which it didn't. But I wish they could have seen that beforehand. That like a lot of people were gonna like this movie, and you know, we're gonna talk about the movie like in depth a bit more, but this is the first MCU movie to make me cry. Yeah, it was the first one.
I guess we'll get to that part when we get there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. For me at least, I was also exposed to Black Panther in Ultimate Avengers 2, and that was Jomer's dog.
Okay.
And also, there's this motion comic on YouTube about Black Panther starring Jaimon Hansu. And like, it's animated, it had Storm in it, and like Claw asked the aid for Juggernaut and the Black Knight to invade Wakanda. So I was already interested. And then when I saw him in Civil War, I was like, this guy kicks ass, he sounds so cool. And when I saw the first trailer, I was like, holy shit, this looks amazing. And like, it was that and the 2017 version of Justice League where we thought, like, wow, two really cool trailers. I can't wait to see both of these movies, and hopefully both of them are good. We know the story of Justice League, but like, Black Panther really lived up to the hype, for me at least.
Okay.
But yeah, getting into it, we start in America in '92 with Sterling K. Brown and his friend James, and they hear a knock on the door, and James is like, there's these two women with spears, what do I do? And Sterling K. Brown's like, they won't ask again, you better open the door.
Mm-hmm.
And then they are the bodyguards of the Black Panther, and T'Chaka appears like Batman, and he's like, Claw stole a shit ton of vibranium. I want to look you in the eye and ask you why you betrayed Wakanda.
They didn't explain how they found out.
I guess by interrogating Claw. Or somebody. James, no, it's
Yep.
James.
Oh, right, forgot.
Yeah.
James, the guy was actually a rat within a rat.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, alright. Not bad. Forgot.
And then you see them leaving the apartment. You're like, I guess they brought him back to Wakanda. And you see a kid, you're like, is this the story of how Killmonger tries to find his dad? No, you find out what happens later on. But we get the first action scene with Black Panther in the jungle when he's trying to rescue Nakia.
And yeah, I agree with Seb where majority of the action here wasn't that great compared to something like Winter Soldier or Civil War. But this scene was because he was still using like the low tech, just costume and the applause. And I like seeing him fight here, and I want to see more of it. I know I might be at the losing end of this, but I really don't like the purple suit. That's just for my opinion. Like I don't like it that much.
Okay.
I like it when he just goes fisticuffs instead of like energy blast stuff like that.
Okay.
No, because like here's the thing about the energy suit. He barely ever uses the energy part. Like the point of the energy suit is so that he can absorb energy, and when he's being dogpiled, get rid of the dogpile. I think it was better displayed in Infinity War than it was in Black Panther. I think that's also why they went with the suit, because they needed a viable way for T'Challa to fight an army of stuff.
Yeah.
So
without slitting throats.
I mean, he could still slit throats. It's Chitauri.
No, but he didn't show like in Black Panther. Like they didn't show him pretty much like maiming a guy.
Yeah.
Which I kind of liked.
I mean, the thing about Black Panther and the MCU is they don't want to say that these people aren't afraid of blood.
Going back to Black Panther, he sees Nakia and he freezes, and Okoye has to take out the last remaining soldier.
Or probably was this trafficking those women, right?
Yeah.
Most likely, yeah.
And then
Like the BBS scene.
Yeah.
Except they were less scared of him.
But yeah, he tells Nakia like, "Oh, the king is dead. I'm supposed to be king now."
And he wants her to be in the ritual ceremony.
And then
Will you be my date to my crowning / dad's funeral?
Wakanda is a completely different world compared to ours.
I mean, speaking of which, you can see how Wakanda can disguise itself as like, we barely have money for ourselves. We're a poor farmer society.
Farmers, yeah.
And then you see
We're
how
just a poor little African country. Oh.
Hello.
You see how technologically advanced Wakanda is.
Wanda?
Yeah. Wakanda? Who's she? What she do?
A friend of yours?
But yeah, you meet Angela Bassett, who's the queen, and Shuri, and you kind of get the sense that Shuri's like the Q to Black Panther.
Yes.
Wow, you are so obviously watching too much James Bond that your basis is Q.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like, I get it. I get it.
Yeah. And then we cut to London and we meet a grown-up Killmonger, and he's meeting with his historian. And he's like asking like, "Where's this artifact from?" "Oh, that's from Ghana." So and so. I was like, "Where's this from?" "Oh, that's from Bennett." "No, it's from Wakanda. British soldiers took out."
Man, you gotta forget that girl. Wakanda ain't never coming back.
This is the British Museum too, right?
Yeah. It's like, how do you?
This is where we first like meet. Fuck, what was his name? Andy Serkis, right?
Yeah, the first of the Tolkien white guys.
Tolkien white.
The first
guys.
of the Tolkien white guys. I like that. I really like that.
Yeah.
No, but like, you know what's interesting about this particularly? This was really smart for them to choose the British Museum, because a lot of the artifacts in the British Museum are stolen.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it was like they could have picked any museum to do this setup in, but like I love that they chose the British Museum.
Yeah, and they
it was
do
a great
emphasize
knock
that.
at it. Yeah.
Like Killmonger does say, "Look, what's the difference if I take it? Because you guys took it from us a long time ago."
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn.
And like, it's funny because you're like, the ambulance is pretty fast, and you're like, oh fuck, that's Andy Serkis. Never mind. And then they steal the artifact, and Killmonger also takes a mask with him, and then we cut back to Wakanda and to see the ceremony in the waterfall. I think most of it's CGI, but like some parts are practical. I read it somewhere a few months ago, I
I think the waterfall's practical, but of course when it starts to like do the drainage shit, like
a CGI.
Yeah, I love the shit.
Yeah, and then
the shield, the force field around Wakanda, though, that was all practical.
Sure.
The Gungan shield that.
Yeah.
We mean Zoe played by Forrest Whitaker. Like, man, we got every big African American actor to be in this one. And then T'Challa has the powers the Black Panther stripped away, and they ask the crowd, like, does anyone to challenge for the position? No one answers until the Jabari tribe come with M'Baku.
Okay, you can do this. Did you have the names written down? Are you okay?
M'Baku is not that hard of a name to pronounce. M'Baku.
They are written down. It's like the Jurassic World video. It's like, I need to read properly.
Dude, I swear, I was like, is this ritual like every year? Just to see who's king, or
dude, they don't have a crowning every year.
Yeah, that's a very
that's what I was thinking.
unstable country.
Oh, it's like a challenge. Like they gotta be ready.
No,
like every year to just do like.
Not that I'm an expert in Wakanda traditions or anything, but when a crown is up for grabs, it makes sense to me that like rival tribes would want to actually vie for the crown.
All right.
So this is, I guess, them going like, oh, it's up in the air. Will it go to the Chalas?
The Chalas.
What do you call them? What do you call them? What's their last name?
But yeah, I do like the waterfall fight scenes. Like those are.
I like this one.
Scenes. Yeah.
I don't know what fighting style T'Challa is incorporating.
Are you fucking kidding me? It's the
is it combination of capoeira and just like Muay Thai?
BJJ.
Yeah, okay.
It's a combination of capoeira and BJJ. I know I'm saying it like that. No, because like this is why I actually think a lot of it was undercooked. Okay. Because like capoeira doesn't really work that well in real life. There's just too many ways to counter it, and in it's not gonna make anyone cheer.
No.
Like to see it countered, because like you kind of just want to see a Tekken fight. But like there are just too many ways to counter it, and they wanted T'Challa's fighting style to, I guess, for lack of a better term, be exotic. Even though, to my knowledge, capoeira originated in like
Brazil.
South America, or a Hispanic-speaking country for sure. Yeah, Brazil. But yeah, they wanted him to have this more grounded MMA style, which doesn't really make that much sense to me. But it was a fun fight between him and M'Baku.
Yeah.
I think this is a heavily watered down, semi-buffed in terms of character version of M'Baku, because M'Baku's like eternally after T'Challa in the comics. He's just never down for him. But like here, it's a little bit in the middle.
Yeah.
And in this fight, like there is one major flaw to this fucking fight. By the time they have him in the rear naked choke, God, could you tell where they were? Like you could really tell like where the green screen was there.
Okay, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, where they're
like,
at the cliff.
Yeah, and I'm just like, God, this looks like a set.
Yeah.
Like this really looks like a set.
Yeah.
Like thank God there's no rushing
like,
water too. Like that's strange.
Yeah, like the whole like where everybody's on a rock on that waterfall. Yes, that was practical, but of course the cliff is.
Yeah.
I mean, to my knowledge, he can also probably manage to make all of that a set. Like I think, to my knowledge, like the rocks were practical in the sense that they built those things, but I think the entire set was a set. Like all of it was a set. It's not as big as you think it is. They didn't actually go to a waterfall to do this.
Yeah.
But I think it was one of the more expensive sets that they made, but still a set. God, the fucking green screen on this was it was noticeable in a lot of places, man.
Yeah.
Especially at the third act, in my opinion. Like, I didn't like it.
But
the third act was a 2001 level mess, but we'll get to that.
M'Baku yields and T'Challa enters. There's another ritual where he enters the other realm with his father and the other ancestors, and he's asking his father, like, I don't know how to rule Wakanda. Can you give me some advice?
Stop being a little bitch, T'Challa.
Exactly.
And he's like, wakes up, like, fuck.
Thanks for the help, Dad.
Yeah. I do like the conversation with him and Nakia later on when she's like, Wakanda can be doing more for the world, but it doesn't. It's so afraid of it being discovered that it just stays in one place.
Yeah, because I get where T'Challa's coming from. We're like, oh, if we expose ourselves to the world, we're exposing other people's problems to us. And thus, same banana thing, like, war, they get involved since they are like a higher power now. A powerhouse of a country. And I'm like, yeah, I get you. But at the same time, your own people are in danger or, are at horrible places all around the world, which I get Nakia's side.
Yeah. And then they
because like, if you want to think about this from like, a funnier point of view, like on one end they could open up Wakanda, and like, T'Challa could open up too. They could open up Wakanda to the world. But then they wouldn't just have the problems of the world with them. They'd also have the other problem of white people ruin everything. Their egg salad is completely fine. Don't add raisins. And
now that you mention this.
That tends to be what happens. When everyone gets involved. But it's just to put a little light sprinkling of comedy into that situation. That's kind of what was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they discovered that Claw is in South Korea, trading the vibranium, and because they heard about the robbery, and then what's the name of Daniel Kaluuya's character? Wakabi is like, he killed my parents. Can you please bring him back or at least kill him for my sake?
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
And then he goes to Shuri for the new suit and new footwear too.
Oh, the noise canceling footwear that suddenly have sound when he walks away.
Sneakers.
Hey, hey, at least the smart person has a sense of humor. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of characters in this universe.
If only the actress was as smart.
Anyway, I do like the scene where
Hey, folks.
they test out the absorbing energy of the suit, and T'Challa kicks it one time, just like, no, fine, but can you kick it again? And he's like, why are you recording this?
I love it. She was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
For scientific purposes. Come on, come on!
Yeah. It's just her phone, just like.
Yeah. Okay.
I love how that creeped into the screen the way it did.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Come on! I'm your sister, you can trust you, come on. Get splattered across the room. Delete that footage.
Delete that footage.
And that is how we immortalize Chadwick Boseman. Not in his acting, but we'll be using that meme forever. Delete that footage will never not be used. Especially when you see some cursed shit on Facebook, there will always be at least one delete that footage.
Delete that footage. Oh, rest in peace, Chadwick.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then Okoye and Nakia go to South Korea, and then they go to the underground casino where they meet the second Tolkien white guy, which is Agent Ross, Martin Freeman.
They're like.
Did you say Morgan Freeman?
Martin Freeman.
Martin Freeman.
Okay, just making sure you didn't assume that all Freemans were related, you know?
No.
I forgot 2 Middle Earth's characters are here.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then it's Okoye who blows up their cover, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she kind of spoke to the radio in front of a guard.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? I thought you're supposed to be good at this espionage shit.
Right?
But okay.
And then
I mean, she's not even good wearing a wig, so I don't assume she's very good at espionage.
no.
Yeah, that wig was horrible.
She doesn't seem like the best in stealth.
No, she just hated wearing the wig. That was the issue. She just hated wearing it. She's just like, fuck this wig, fuck this wig. Oh, we blew our cover. Guess I have to stop wearing the wig. It's like she just wanted to really stop wearing the wig.
Yeah.
And it's throughout this entire sequence you can tell how much fun Andy Serkis is having. It's like, I'm in a comic book movie, fuck it. Have the time of my life.
I just have to say, I really loved Andy Serkis in this movie.
Yeah.
I really did. I wanted Andy Serkis to be the Joker to T'Challa's Batman, which T'Challa kind of already is. You know, he's kind of Batman, but, a different animal.
Yeah.
So, let's carry on with the movie so I can further complain.
The effects on his hand, I was like, I can't tell if that's practical or really bad CGI.
I say it's an okay, let's say it's a dodgy arm rep, it's prosthetic. So I get it why it looks kind of marshmallowy.
Yeah.
So, I guess I could give it a pass.
Oh, going back a bit, I like the scene where he sees Agent Ross, and Agent Ross like, you have an entourage? You have a mixtape? He's like, yeah, I do. I'll send you the SoundCloud link. He's like, no, please, God.
The dude actually had a mixtape.
Yeah. And then Klaus is like, bag insistent, like my mixtape. Alright then. And then they have this...
He hates us!
He hates us! But yeah, they had this car chase scene where T'Challa has this car controlled by Shuri, and Okoye and Nakia have their vibranium car. And Klaus like, it's a vibranium car, you idiots. Why are you shooting?
They're Audis, right?
Yeah.
No, they were Lexuses.
They were?
Yeah, they were Lexus.
They were Lexuses?
Yeah, it's like Lexus.
Alright, so we know where the product placement is now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spider-Man was the Audis.
Spider-Man was the Audis, yes. And Avengers. But oddly enough, Toyota and Lexus, I'm like, okay. I didn't know that they sold Japanese cars in South Korea, but okay.
That's kind of racist. They sell Japanese cars everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Why would they sell?
What the fuck? Why would South Korea just use
Does
Daewoo?
Japan have something against South Korea?
They got Hyundai and Kias.
Anyway, I do like the scene where Okoye throws the spear and then the sudden stop of the car just hitting the spear, like, Jesus Christ.
I love that where she throws it through the windshield and in front of the car. I was like,
Yeah.
all right? Then it immediately crumples everybody inside that vehicle.
Yeah.
Good shit. Good shit.
But Claw uses his hand to disintegrate Okoye's car, and then he later on disintegrates T'Challa's car. And he has to chase him.
Can we please just call it Claw's Claw?
Claw's Claw? Alright.
Claw's Claw.
It's right there.
I forget how T'Challa stops Claw's car, though. Does he slash the tires?
He destroys a tire for sure.
Yeah, he just puts his hand in like the wheel well, and it just shreds up. And I think it just hits a random like Tteokbokki stand or something like that.
Yeah. And he's about to deadass execute him in front of the entire crowd. You're like, that's not a good idea.
Yeah, since you are kind of like a high profile figure.
Like, even if you are king, no. You do that in your country at least.
I mean, like, he's T'Challa. He has diplomatic immunity no matter where he goes, but you know, let's remember he's still not Victor Von Doom.
That's
like Victor Von Doom doing this, adds up. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. But like T'Challa doing it's like, hey, you expect more out of T'Challa. With Von Doom, it's like, you know, fuck it, it's Von Doom. He'll do worse if we just don't let him go about his business. Let's just
I expected worse.
Yeah. And then it's during the interrogation scene between Claw and Ross that Claw's like, you don't know anything about Wakanda, do you? That they are technologically advanced. They're sitting on a mountain of vibranium. He's like, no way. It's like, where do you think I got my weapon from? Where do you think Black Panther gets his suit from? And then Ross in this one is like, oh, the only scandalous thing about Wakanda is like the king runs around in a cat suit when it's suffering. No, that's like the tip of the iceberg for Wakanda.
They're actually doing A-OK on the food department.
Yeah, and everywhere else too. Killmonger finds them through Claw's claw, and then they escape, but in the process, Agent Ross gets shot, and while T'Challa's chasing him, he notices the necklace. He's like, that's not supposed to be there. Why is it there?
Why does he have Wakandan souvenirs?
Yeah.
Like, we don't sell those. Wait, we don't even take tourists.
Right?
Go after him. Someone go after him.
Wait a minute.
Hey, he got that from the gift shop. We don't have a gift shop.
Wait a minute.
Come back for the tour. We don't even have those.
I found him with Wakandan artifacts. I'm the world's greatest detective.
Hey, Koy, do you know he's helping with Wakanda's tourism GDP? Like, what tourism GDP? Right, fuck. Oh, okay.
The dude's just like...
But they decide to bring Agent Ross back to Wakanda for healing because he's shot in the spine. And then he won't make the night.
I just love the idea that Wakanda has zero tourism attraction.
Well,
an airport.
Well, when you're sitting on a mountain of metals that cost like an arm and a leg and maybe an entire trust fund to buy like a pound of it, then like I think you're sitting pretty.
Yeah.
Especially when that metal is also like an everything cure.
Like it fixes your spine. It could stop you from bleeding out. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I feel like vibranium is kind of like the mineral version of like marijuana, where everyone's just making claims that it can cure everything.
Got cancer? Marijuana.
I love how they're like, oh no, the Tolkien white guy gets injured. Heal his spine, Rhodey.
It's like, what about me?
And none for James Rhodes. Bye!
Right? Like, Black Panther was on the side of Iron Man in like Civil War. What the fuck, man?
You could have just brought your sister over and done some Wakandan shit, but nah. We got
It doesn't help that the other white guy they heal is Bucky. You're like, oh, I see how it is.
Yeah, Bucky, the guy you thought killed your dad. Yeah, we'll heal him.
Yeah.
We're gonna hook him up with an arm. We're gonna give him an arm.
But
like none for James Rhodes. None for James Rhodes. He's cool.
Yeah. Damn.
And then we get to a scene that
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
we get to a scene that still confuses me because like this is a scene where Killmonger kills Claw, but you're like, were you just hanging with Claw to kill him?
All right, there we go. There's the complaint. Why would you bring in Andy Serkis, have him deliver one of the best performances of his entire career, just to have him marked by Michael B. Jordan just being Michael B. Jordan?
It makes no sense to me.
I don't care if he's the greatest basketball player of all time. I wanted more Claw!
I think you just killed Joe.
Mike, what?
Why, Mike?
Yeah, but just rewatching this movie, like, why are you hanging out with Claw then, if this is your plan?
Right, you could have just left him in prison.
Like, their
Or
shit
just
was
kill him
still
and then bring him to Wakanda.
Yeah, they were still in line with each other. Why would you want to kill him? You guys are still... You didn't even get into an argument.
Like, nothing like that. Like, there was no, like, where's my payment? Blah, 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 blah. Nah, nothing like that.
Not even a little bit of conflict. They're just like, there's only one room for one villain in this franchise, and it's me.
He even kills his one-dimensional girlfriend. Like, I guess there goes that routine.
Oh, yeah, the cafe girlfriend girl. Yeah.
Yeah. Strange. But yeah, he kills Claw, and then he plans to take him to Wakanda. And then we get...
You don't feel the emotional weight? They kissed in the ambulance.
Oh, yeah. We get the scene where T'Challa goes to Zuri, and he's like, I saw a guy with my father's king ring. Can you explain how that's possible? It's like, some truths are harder to bear.
T'Challa was from the gift shop.
Okay, thank you for clearing that up.
It was from the Wakandan gift shop. he just like, he just got it at the Wakandan version of Kultura.
And then we get the flashback that explains what happened in the beginning, where Killmonger's father is like, we have to do something because in these cities, their leaders are being assassinated, it's being flooded with drugs, our people are suffering, why don't we do anything? But he knows T'Chaka won't say yes to that.
Because it gives them, like, oh, it's gonna expose us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so of course that's the thing. Yeah. Like, Wakanda's a very, like, gatekeepy country, as you can see.
And then Killmonger's father draws a gun on T'Chaka, or on James, but T'Chaka stops him and kills his father.
And sadly, the poor kid had to see his dad dead on the floor.
Yeah, they didn't even like bring the kid back to Wakanda.
Yeah.
And then you hear from, after the flashback, you hear from Okapi that, hey, there's a guy with Claw's body. We should do something about this because he just brought back the most wanted man in Wakanda. And then they bring him in the throne room, and T'Challa's like, I don't care who you are. I know you are, I don't care. You're done here. And then one council guy has to be like,
hey, auntie.
Hey, auntie. That was the most like, oh fuck moment. Like, the boy didn't take off his shoes before he went in the house.
Yeah, and there's one guy that just asked us, like, who are you? And he's like, I am the son of Unjabu, and I'm here to claim the throne. You're like, oh, you just had to ask, didn't you?
Yeah. Well,
I mean, like, I get it, because, like, T'Chaka is kind of a divisive leader, and even more so T'Challa. Because, like, even in the comics, the Wakandans don't really like T'Challa too much.
Really?
Like, you know who the Wakandans actually like? Fucking Shuri. Because, like, T'Challa in the comics is actually... I really would have loved for a Black Panther sequel to happen. Because there are so many things specific to T'Challa that ties into making his rule super interesting. It ties into Namor. It ties into why Shuri ends up leading. And hell, it ties into Aurora Monroe. Monroe. Yeah, Storm. It ties into T'Challa's politics specifically. And that's T'Challa's a universalist, for lack of a better term. Like, he doesn't care for the side of Wakanda that's super secretive and super Wakanda's business is Wakanda's business. Like, T'Challa believes that there's a way to serve the world and serve Wakanda, which is just something that Wakanda is eternally struggling with. And if we were able to see further stuff with T'Challa, hopefully we do get something like that. But because everyone's too emotionally attached to the idea that like Chadwick Boseman's the only T'Challa that can ever T'Challa, which is fucking bullshit. We have so many like African male actors who could fucking pull it off. Fuck off Disney. Fuck off fans who think he can't be recast. Like, this, like, Shuri leads because Shuri knows how to balance out the traditions of Wakanda and progressing Wakanda politically forward. T'Challa, on the other hand, he just wants to progress them forward. Like, you have to respect the traditions of those who are non-progressive and kind of work your way around that in order to make some progress. But T'Challa is more abrasive. Like, he has a more forward-thinking mindset. So this is what puts him at odds with those who are more traditional to Wakanda's ways. And Killmonger represents this to an extreme and more hostile fashion, especially... I'm talking about movie Killmonger, in the sense that Killmonger has seen the oppression of African Americans and Africans in general, centuries of abuse. Like, remember, 300 years of abuse, 300 years of slavery. They fought wars in America and still haven't been seen as normal citizens. Still second-class citizens who are consistently told to go back to Africa. You know, that's still the mentality of a good part of the United States to this day.
Yep.
And you discover a hypothetical country like Wakanda going, yeah, we could probably overthrow all these nations if we wanted to, but nah.
You want to stay secret.
Yeah, secret only.
Secret. But, yeah.
And then Killmonger challenges T'Challa and he's like, I don't need any ceremony, I just need you. And then we cut to the fight, and again, the powers of Black Panther are stripped away from T'Challa, and Killmonger's like, I've been waiting my entire life to fight you. Like, I do like this fight. There's just one moment where I'm like, what, did I say something wrong?
No, because I'm just thinking of what Forrest Whitaker says when he takes away T'Challa's power. It is an eternal meme. Like, we will never not think it's. I get it, but like, it's so fucking funny.
It's so fucking funny.
The strength of the Black Panther will now be stripped away.
It's the Iwe.
It's not the way, it's Iwe.
Oh Lord.
But yeah,
this is a Forrest Whitaker thing. This is not an African thing. It's a Forrest Whitaker thing.
Whitaker.
But yeah, one gripe is like, after a few good hits, T'Challa's like, yield. You're like, really? It's not like you were wailing on the guy. It's not like Killmonger's like, oh no, my weakness, big spear. It's like, why are you telling him to yield?
Right? And I like it.
Let's be fair here. Big spear is quite the weakness. Like, anyone would probably have the weakness of big spear.
Yeah.
I mean, Superman had the weakness of big spear. Let's be real. Like,
big green spear, no.
And in medieval combat, spears are actually considered a more viable weapon than a sword. So
yeah. But you're like, maybe T'Challa can win, but we're halfway through this movie now.
I do like it that he does give us a little bit of exposition of like what he's been through while they were fighting. Like, he has been through multiple countries, being pretty much the CIA's like kill button.
Yeah.
And like, you could tell the amount of body counts he has through the traditional like alligator skin style scars on him, which I really like.
He Victor's asked himself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
One for every kill. Who's your artist? Like
how do you reach that thing?
No, like, do you just like keep a notebook and then like go to your guy and be like 5 more? Like, who's your guy? Like, I want to talk to your guy.
And then Killmonger gets the upper hand and he stabs T'Challa. And he's about to kill him, but Zori stops and is like, "No, I'm responsible for your dad's death. If there's anyone you want to kill, it's me." He's like, "Alright, I'll take you both."
Which he does. Yeah. I like how he like just kills him. I like how he kills T'Challa. He just tosses him up.
He gorilla presses him off of the. He just straight up gorilla presses T'Challa. And may I just say, why the fuck did you have to nerf T'Challa that hard?
Right?
Like, I mean, I get it. You wanted to have him like overcome something, but in comics canon, T'Challa could whoop your ass. Like, regardless of whether or not he has the Black Panther powers, T'Challa's just really good at hand to hand. Why is it that all of a sudden he's not as good as Killmonger?
Right. I didn't get that part, but I do like it that they emphasize those like, oh, he's kind of cutting the tendons or like weak spots. I was like, ish. He wasn't cutting like the back of the knee or anything like that, but
it's not bloodlust to be like that's a lot of damage already.
My issue with this fight was that it was a little bit more kung fu, a little less MMA.
Yeah.
You get it? It felt like they were using like traditional Chinese like martial arts
like the block
superstition.
Yeah. Oh,
like the superstitions behind, oh, if I hit this nerve you're just gonna shut down. Like, in a lot of real life fight situations, this is not gonna be as simple to pull off. Like, even if you say this is a superhero movie, it just felt like a lot of superstition in an attempt to give like T'Challa a nerf he doesn't need. Like, Killmonger can get the win, but like, don't make it feel like a fucking sweep.
Right.
Like, don't tell me this guy that really went toe to toe with the Winter Soldier, Steve Rogers, and other really good hand to hand fighters can't win against Eric fucking Killmonger. Because it would, to me, imply that, like, he could whoop Captain America's ass if he needed to. Like, that doesn't fucking make sense to me.
Yeah. I do like the scene where one of the bodyguards is like, "Is there nothing we can do?" And Okoye's just like,
"No, he won by law."
Yeah. Later on,
like, can't we stop him? He's not even from here. No, that would be racist. Which is true. It would be racist.
Yeah, it would be racist.
We can't just stop him because he's from here. Like, that would be technically racist.
Yeah. And I do like when later on, like, he's like, "Come, we're gonna make our escape," and Okoye's like, "No, I am loyal to the throne." We're like, "Oh, I see what's happening here." Like, she's so loyal. She's like, "I have to be loyal no matter who sits on this throne." We're like, disagree, but alright, you do you, I guess.
Yeah,
no,
it's conflict with Okoye now.
No, that's what's really interesting. Like, to me, that, like, a lot of the, like, Killmonger's stance is so, it's educatedly interesting and very conflicting. Because, like, you'd see people to this day who think Killmonger was right. And I would make an argument that maybe he wasn't that wrong. But Killmonger is someone that you really have to think about whether you'd oppose or not. Because, like, all the shit he's saying is true. And maybe it is a war. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. But, like, you can't make arguments that why he's doing this is wrong. Because, like, he sees the potential Wakanda has to be a ruling power and the elite ruling power in the world. Like, you see, there is no crime in Wakanda. It's a place where you could probably trust the cops.
Yeah.
You know, and I would actually prefer that world.
Yeah.
I would love a world where you could go up to an officer and trust that this guy's gonna do the right thing. I would love a world where the infrastructure is so fucking... It's a utopia down there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he wanted that so bad for himself and for the rest of the world. Like, his intentions were not even selfish. And I also love Okoye's stance in the sense that, that is the conflict of working for a government. Like, especially one you don't have. Especially one that, like, you don't have a leader you prefer. Because a lot of the time, especially when you are, what's this? Part of something like the Dora Milaje, like, it doesn't matter who sits there. You have to protect that person.
Yeah.
And I like that, like, Okoye is the head of the Dora Milaje. Like, had that kind of loyalty and respect to the crown. Like, the crown over everyone else.
Yeah.
That made Okoye come off as really cool to me, and may I just say, coming from Walking Dead into this, what an impressive fucking turn. Like, she was ready for the big screen.
I'm happy they didn't like, oh yeah, since T'Challa isn't, king, yeah, I'll switch to your side immediately, like full 180 of her character. I feel like it would have destroyed her character as a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would take away the integrity of what Wakanda stands for in terms of like people who are willing to serve, like heart and soul. Like, that's her vow, and she kept it.
Yeah. Sure, you could say that by the end she kind of turns, but he wasn't dead. That was the rule. That was the rule. He has to be dead or he submits.
Yeah. And then we cut back to Killmonger, and it's his turn to be in the other realm, and he sees his dad, and his dad's like, what did I tell you about touching my stuff? But later on, he's like, I wish I could have brought you back to Wakanda. And then he notices, like, no tears from me. He's like, nah.
That broke my heart.
Everybody dies.
That line broke my heart, where his son is just casually talking to him, not even freaked out that, like, he's actually talking to his dad again. Like, no tears for me, and he was like, everybody dies, and that breaks the heart of, like, the father or the uncle of T'Challa.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck. I don't know. That was a pretty powerful scene for me.
Yeah.
It tells you how far gone the system has taken Killmonger.
Yeah,
and
he's been
understandably so. Yeah, it's understandable, and like, to me, the biggest downside to Killmonger was that they had him mirror Black Panther. Like, I'd rather they didn't give him the leopard suit. I don't know what the fuck you would call it. People just call it Killmonger. I just call it he just needed a Black Panther suit so that Black Panther versus Black Panther. But like, Killmonger never dressed like this in the comics.
Yeah.
I honestly would have preferred him just using his combat suit. Because, like, it would give Killmonger a bit more identity and a bit more, I am not the king of Wakanda. Or, like, I am not a Wakandan by nature. I am a guy who's taking what Wakanda has and giving it to the world that I've watched suffer. That I've suffered in.
How does he get the suit again?
He just takes it.
Yeah,
like, he has access to everything. He's king.
Yeah, the lab's just right there.
Yeah. And I assume the suit just fits everybody. Because, like, if Spider-Man's suit made by Stark could just magically fit him, regardless of his size, then I assume that the Black Panther suit can do the same.
It's like, this one comes in yellow. I'll take that. You're like, sure. Why not?
I feel like it would have been a smarter move if Shuri just took both necklaces.
Oh.
Like, I feel like they wouldn't have that problem if she was like, oh, my brother's favorite necklace. Like, you could have just taken the other one as well so that you don't give an advantage to the enemy. But, all right.
Like, okay, this one's yours, this one's mine. We all get a necklace.
Yeah.
And then Killmonger orders the flowers to be burned, but Nakia is there to be like, I'll take one.
Also her. She could have at least taken two.
Yeah.
Could have had the advantage.
I personally would have just taken a basket of them.
Yeah, but I get she's trying to sneak around and she's trying to get spotted, but like a little like 1 or 2 or 3, and then I would have ditched.
Yeah.
Like 3 Black Panthers, that would have been sick. That would have been like...
I mean, I wouldn't have necessarily been like, have all of them eat the heart-shaped fruit. I would have just been more like, I mean, like, he's burning down the garden. You need a few to, like, plant more.
Plant more? Yeah.
Yeah.
At least cultivate.
When another coronation comes around, sure.
Yeah.
But alam mo, I also like that he burned all of the heart-shaped fruits for one reason. He's not acting like a person who's trying to free Wakanda or anything. He's acting like a colonizer. Because if the heart-shaped fruits also represent the Black Panther, and the Black Panther represents the culture of Wakanda, he is therefore also wiping out the culture of Wakanda by doing this.
Which is what the CIA trained him to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like no, but this is like the classic like colonizer mindset. When we were colonized by the Spanish, they wiped out basically every piece of our culture pre them. You have no idea how hard it is to actually find something pre-Spanish colonial period from our country because they wiped out so much of it.
Yeah.
Like we don't even write in our own language. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, I mean, like to this day we still don't.
Yeah, but people are writing in Alibata, so I'm like kind of happy to see that. I'm planning to start writing in that and like try to get familiarized with it. So hopefully.
And then Nakia, the queen, and Shuri go to the Jabari tribe to offer the heart-shaped fruit to M'Baku. And first you're like, I'd like to see that, but he's like, I have something to show you. T'Challa's here, covered in snow. He's barely clinging to life as it is, so if we bring him to that, he'll flatline the moment you step out of this.
Yes. And I'm like, they didn't explain why they had mercy on. Oh
no,
they
do.
did. Yeah, they do.
T'Challa spared him.
A life for a life, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
Not bad.
I really don't know how the snow is keeping him alive, though. Medically
I
speaking.
mean, if a magical metal can just magically turn into like can be like a suit from a necklace, and I assume like Wakandan snow can do some bullshit. Like you can preserve meat in a refrigerator, and you know humans are made of meat, so I assume they just refrigerated him.
Yeah.
Effectively. You know?
Like, just cover him in snow. You sure that will work? It's Wakanda. It will work. Alright. After he gets the heart-shaped fruit, and he enters the realm. And this is where we get the, you're all wrong scene.
That's where I cried. That's where I cried. I cried at that scene. Because, like, you could see his father honestly thinking that he did the right thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't because he hated the world, it was because he thought he was doing the right thing. But as you also saw in Civil War, they kind of tried to open up to the world to a degree.
Yeah.
And you know, T'Challa also saying, like, Killmonger's not fucking wrong. Like, people like him exist because you didn't do anything.
Yeah.
With all of Wakanda's secret power and resources, we could have made sure our people never suffered, but you didn't do anything. Each and every one of you didn't do anything. His methods may be wrong, but he's not. We're in this mess because of you. I'm gonna do better than that.
Yeah. And fuck, though. Performance of Chadwick Boseman just going, you are all wrong.
No, and also not just that. Like, you also see a human side of it. Like, you also see how much T'Challa didn't want to be without his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, above everything, above being king, above all the fucking politics, he didn't want to lose his father, and he did.
Yeah. But yeah, he wakes up, and then before they go out to stop Killmonger, he asks M'Baku, like, can you please help us? Like, no. Why should we be involved? It's like, this is bigger than us.
You talk about us. Walang tayo, is what M'Baku said. Walang tayo.
Yeah, he's pretty much like, a life for a life. My debt is paid.
Yeah. And then they go off, and he stops the ship just in time, and Wakabi defends Killmonger, sending his forces after T'Challa. And I do like seeing T'Challa take out Wakabi's forces in this first half of the fight. Like, that's
the
cool.
rhinos.
Not when the rhinos come in, we're like, that's too much for me.
No, but there was the Gungan shields though, where they had like the, the cape shit. I'm like, oh, this looks like something I watched many years ago.
This looks familiar. I don't know where didn't you have war flashback? Teddy, then they were losing. I give up. I give up.
I give up.
T'Challa using the Puma. Because I'm having a Puma. Here, using this one.
Yeah, when the rhinos come in, I'm like, wow, this is pretty bad.
Yes, let's move forward from that.
Yeah. Shuri and Nakia join the fight too, and T'Challa stops Killmonger from killing Shuri, right?
Mm.
And then they fall, and you're like, I've seen this in Spider-Man 3. Sure.
I know. Ish.
Yeah.
But this is the part where we kind of start to see like the bad side. Hey, I will admit there are amazing fight scenes and amazing like battle scenes with CGI. They are out there. Sadly, this is not one of them.
No.
It does not look good, and this is probably the downside of this movie. It was the third act.
I'd say Shang-Chi did what Black Panther did terribly. Shang-Chi, I think, did it pretty well. You could make arguments that could have been better, but also in terms of we have the 10 rings fight, so we're using our powers. Like, I found that fight with Wenwu a lot better than this fight.
It was. It fucking was.
Yeah. I do like the scene when they're surrounded and then one of them gets picked up. The shield men get picked up by Umbak, and it's like, witness the power of the Jabbar tribe first, and he just bounces the guy off a shield. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love it that these are just gorilla men and vegetarians. I don't know how they get that much protein from being a vegetarian, but good on them. But just these gorilla men.
Eat your children. Awesome. Just kidding, we are vegetarians.
Speak again and I'll feed you to my children.
I mean, like, when you think about it, like, regardless of why you're wondering why they could, like, get that much meat on them despite being vegetarians, think about it from this perspective. So are gorillas. Gorillas are completely vegetarian. They don't eat meat. So...
Okay, now that you point it that way, alright.
Yeah.
And since their whole thing is the gorilla.
Yeah, we are gorilla men.
Yeah.
We are both very buff and also don't eat protein. Or at least traditional protein.
Yeah.
The scene where Daniel Kaluuya is charging with the rhino, I'm like, that's the green screen's really sticking out here. And when it stops and licks Okoye, you're like, why?
And it licks at her face, I'm like, alright, what?
Yeah.
I love this fight scene. It was cool, but at the same time, like, it kind of hurt my eyes.
Did half the budget go to Infinity War? Probably.
Would you kill me, my love, for Wakanda without question?
That was cool though.
I love that. I love
that.
Dude, fuck, I forgot her name of all the times for me to forget her name.
Okoye?
Okoye. Okoye was cool. Okoye was really cool. She shot way above her pay grade in Endgame for sure. But like, and in Infinity War, but like, she's hella cool, man. Like, she's hella cool. Shit. Yeah. No, like, the thing is, like, I also love that the effectively the Queen's Guard, or in this case the King's Guard, are all women. Because this is canon in the comics that the personal guard of the king is like a fighting force of women. So like, this isn't a political thing. This is like always been ingrained in Wakandan culture that like the Dora Milaje have always been women exclusively.
And you gotta love it, like even Bucky is scared of the Dora Milaje. I'm like, yeah.
Anyone should. Because if you have to protect the guy with Panther powers, then you have to measure up. It's like Jason Momoa being Jason Momoa's bodyguard.
Yeah.
You don't see the point of Jason Momoa having bodyguards, but then if you are his bodyguard, you gotta make sure you can step the fuck up.
Yeah. What does he say in Bucky Sam? Looking strong, John, when he's getting his ass kicked by
the Dora Milaje.
Do something. Looking strong, John.
All right, you don't have jurisdiction here, and then immediately like falls on his ass. I'm like, all right.
And
you don't have jurisdiction here. Mama mo jurisdiction.
But going back to the fight, the one at the train station is like, this isn't faring better either in terms of effects. Because
train station?
Well, it was a mining facility with a train in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it turns off their suits because of the magnetic field, right?
Yeah. And so, like, their suits were pulsating, which I was like, so if there was an EMP that, like, you know, turned on, T'Challa would just be naked?
I mean, it's an electromagnetic pulse to a degree.
Okay.
Like, it's not a straight up EMP, but it's a specific EMP that could like manipulate moving vibranium specifically.
Okay.
So that's why like a normal EMP wouldn't have fucked up T'Challa. Because like in theory you're not really dealing with electronics, you're dealing with a mineral. So if anything, they're kind of magnets.
Okay.
But like electromagnetic pulse, but in this context, is very different from a normal electromagnetic pulse.
I do like the scene when Killmonger's like, if anyone thinks about being loyal to you, I'm gonna put their ass in the dirt, along with Zurn. T'Challa's like, you motherfucker.
Yeah, that was cool. But again, like all these amazing quotes, doesn't really back up their fight.
Yeah, like wow, it's pretty rubbery, guys.
Yeah, it is very rubbery.
But like, if I were to make an excuse for it, they focus so much on story. They focus so much on story, which is like again, I'm making excuses for the movie because you know, first MCU movie to make me cry. That was also very central to the Ta-Nehisi Coates run of Black Panther. The reason Ta-Nehisi Coates' Black Panther is so well renowned critically, but also hated at the same time by the fan base is it was so written as a story that the action took a back seat. Like you could read the whole thing and the action is constantly taking the back seat, which it is what it is. It delivered the message, but I feel like they could have delivered the message without using as much tech.
Yeah.
But if you were to make an excuse for the movie, we don't care about the CG. We only care about the story. That's how I would make an excuse for why that fight scene was shitty and literally splicing parts out of other action movies.
Yeah, but T'Challa finds a gap where he can find the gap in the armor. He stabs Killmonger in the heart, and then he tells T'Challa's like, my dad always said this is the most beautiful place, and he takes him up to the cliffside to watch the sunset. It's like, oh, Dad was right. And T'Challa's like, we can still heal you. He's like, so you can keep me in jail? No, just bury me and see, just like the slaves that jump off the ships, because they knew death was better than bondage. You're like, wow, that's pretty heavy.
That was pretty fucking heavy. That's where I was like, fuck you, like.
There's a part of me that's like wishing that they had like Wakandan CCTVs in that area, so that like they could have recorded that speech.
Oh,
because like no one saw it.
Yeah.
But like, don't you think it would have been really cool if there's a group of Wakandans going like, fuck yeah, they're right, while they're listening to, I don't know, the Ramones or some shit. Because they're like they're the Wakandan sect of punk fans.
Yeah.
Rage Against the Machine fans, just like
Yeah. But yeah, T'Challa's like, you know what? It's time that Wakanda give something to the world, and he starts in America, and he sets up a science center or school.
No, it was a. God, what do you call it? It's a Wakandan.
Like an outreach center?
Yeah, outreach center. There we go. Yeah,
okay.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. The kid's just like, whoa, it's like a space Bugatti. Like, that's funny.
Yeah, but that was nice. Like seeing like finally people are getting help in this universe.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see they're putting dipping their hands into like, hey, maybe we could actually start exposing ourselves to the world and just letting out a hand. And they're at the UN. in Austria, and they're like, "What is a country filled with farmers gonna contribute?" They're all like,
and then the
wink.
post credit scene, you're like, "Oh my God, it's Jesus!" And they call him the White Wolf. You're like, Jesus is a Witcher?
Wait a minute. I wouldn't mind seeing him as a Witcher in Witcher.
Oh, I thought you were like, I don't mind seeing him as Jesus.
What?
We're getting white Jesus again.
Again. Damn it.
No, but like, you're right. I wouldn't mind seeing Sebastian Stan as Jesus, but I mean, as a Witcher. But that's besides the fucking point here.
Yeah.
But like,
right.
Yeah.
We're on the doorstep to Infinity War.
This game, this was very nostalgic for me. I know Infinity War was just like a couple of years ago, but like,
it wasn't just a couple of years ago, man. It's 2022.
Like,
Endgame was in 2018.
With the pandemic, it feels like a lifetime, so I don't blame you for feeling nostalgic.
Dude, like, it wasn't just a couple of years ago. It's just like life feels like it was just a couple of years ago. But like, we're in 2022. Endgame came out in 2018. Infinity War came out in 2017. So 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. It was 6 years ago.
like you could have had a baby that time and it'll be talking and walking by
Yeah,
now.
we could have had our own homes. We could have been married and shit. Like, that's how long it's been since this era of the MCU.
Yeah. I kind of miss it.
If you see like the Saving Private Ryan meme on me, like it started to grow.
Don't you dare! I'm already several times older than you, so don't get started.
Goes to am I a good person? Like, yes,
am I a good person?
You have no idea how many times I've actually had that conversation with her. Tell me I've lived a good life. Tell me I'm a good man.
But yeah,
she'll just be like, "Are you doing the Saving Private Ryan thing? I'm having a crisis.
I'm having a moment. You're at Berlin."
But yeah,
it was in France.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, I was like, World War II, Berlin, France, same banana. Like, sure, don't worry.
No, don't put words in my mouth, you bastard.
Mr. Like,
not again, Mr. Not, I told you again.
Mr. There are things that happen, and they get turned to biopics. Like, sure, Joe, sure.
Shut up.
It's just one thing after another in one video.
Just end it.
Speaking of ending, what would you rate this one?
Oh shit. I would say it was a really good story-driven comic book movie. For the action, you're not really there for that anymore. Sorry. Not that there for this. It's mostly on the story. Sure, there were a lot of fight scenes, some fight scenes that were okay, but they're not that great. If you're here to just enjoy explosions, action, this ain't it. If you want more depth and story, this one you might like. So I'm gonna give this one a solid 7.5 out of 10. It's a pretty good movie and has a message to say, and that's what I really liked about it.
Yeah, I'll give this one an 8 out of 10. I do like the characters, somewhat the action, but the story is why I go to this movie. And like for the longest time, Killmonger's last words just echoed in my ear. I'm like, fuck, this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, out of 10 for me.
I'll dance between an 8.5 and an 8 for it because, like, you guys have forgotten about one thing. This movie has a phenomenal score.
Oh,
right.
This movie has a phenomenal score. Produced by Kendrick Lamar.
Yep.
Like, it spoke to the culture. It spoke to the theme of the movie, of vintage modern, let's say, for people of the African culture or African American culture. The story is and will forever speak to people. This is not something that people of the African American race or the African race would ever forget, and they will forever look at T'Challa as someone that they saw a hero and they saw themselves in that too. um, we can't discount the historical significance of a movie like this ending up the way it did. The action is a downside, but if we're talking about score, we're talking about story, we're talking about acting, all top notch. Were there mistakes made? Yes, they shouldn't have killed Claw. There was no reason to kill Claw. They probably shouldn't have made Killmonger just another Black Panther in a different color. But then again, like, all right, just a little fun fact: in the animal kingdom, the Black Panther is just a black leopard. Like they're the same animal, just different colors. So they could have just called Killmonger a leopard and be done with it.
The leopard.
The leopard. But yeah, in terms of story, in terms of score, in terms of acting, there's nothing to complain about. It's literally just the action and CG. And in a world of superhero movies completely ruled by action and spectacle, I like that the worst part about this was the spectacle issue. If I were to have a problem with any superhero movie, especially me being very inclined to the fact that this is an artistic literary message and a way for people to not just convey this story for catharsis, but for also for, you know, just actual artistic substance, I have to go with between 8 and 8.5. I can't like really be sure about where I fall in terms of being sure about whether it's 8 or 8.5, but it's somewhere there for me. Because I just can't discount the good things. The good things are really good.
Yeah. Thoughts on Black Panther Wakanda Forever?
Go ahead, Seth, because I feel like me and Enzo already went at this at our creative review.
Alright. I think there should be another T'Challa.
I
think there should be a new T'Challa.
I agree with that.
I'm sorry. Even though they've made the T'Challa canon in the MCU is dead, like, we need another male Black Panther before you think of passing it down to Shuri. Or Okoye or whoever else you think should be the new Black Panther. We need another Black Panther that has the same views as T'Challa did, because T'Challa's story is not over. Especially with Namor coming in. Especially with the sureness that we're getting Doctor Doom. Because Doctor Doom is just as much a Black Panther villain as you would claim that Doctor Doom is a Fantastic Four villain. It's a resource thing. They're both isolationist countries, and Doctor Doom believes that Vibranium's ability to harness magic is also really, really, really high. For those who don't know, Doctor Doom is basically what would have happened if you took Doctor Strange's mystical mind and Tony Stark's technological mind, put it into one guy, and this one guy fucking hated the heroes. And also, you gave him the power that T'Challa has. Like, that's what Doctor Doom is, and I hope that we get at least a glimpse of Doom. It's really great that we're getting Namor, and I guess it's in a spoiler because you guys have already talked about Miss Marvel and have released your Miss Marvel review.
Yes.
But we now know mutants are canon.
Yep.
We now know that Miss Marvel is the first mutant. But what people don't know is that Namor is Marvel's first canon mutant. Like, in the existence of Marvel Comics to begin with, the first one to truly be a mutant is Namor.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he's the first canon mutant, so this is the second mutant we're seeing in canon.
Okay, okay.
So this will also forward the aspects of introducing the X-Men eventually, and this movie also has the potential to bring us our new Loki. Our new generation Loki in terms of Doctor Doom, because Doctor Doom is he's sustainable for one reason. He has diplomatic immunity, and he's also arguably right. And in the event of something that Marvel's already announced, Secret Wars, Doctor Doom plays a giant role in Secret Wars. Like, arguably, like, no one would have like Secret Wars wouldn't have happened without Doctor Doom, and also Secret Wars wouldn't have turned out as a win for the good side without Doctor Doom. So he's a villain that you can maintain forever. Like whoever's gonna be under the Doctor Doom suit doesn't have to work out like a motherfucker. So this guy can play Doctor Doom for 10 years and it'll be fine. And Doctor Doom will forever yield views that will be conflicting to the heroes. He definitely will come off as a villain, but because of the fact that Doctor Doom is still arguably correct, they can't kill him. Or at least they can't kill him without way too many questions being asked. So, I'm excited for the movie, but I still want a male Black Panther.
Yeah.
Especially since, like, the actress of Shuri is a fucking anti-vaxxer.
Yeah.
So, like, politically, people aren't gonna be down for Shuri to be Black Panther. It's not a female thing. It's a delusional, medicine is perception bullshit thing.
Yeah, she and the actress for Wasp were like, wow, that's pretty.
That was unexpected. We're like, you should have known better.
You didn't know this? She's anti-masker too.
Oh no.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Oh, no. This is gonna make Quantum Mania not as fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there are a ton of messes that Marvel can run into with this. I haven't seen Love and Thunder, but I heard it was a fucking mess. But I do like, for the most part, where Marvel's moving in, because I love basically everything they did in Disney Plus. Like, I still have a bias towards Winter's Bucky Sam, which we all refer to as Bucky Sam.
Yes.
WandaVision was also very good, and it moved the bigger plot forward a lot. We're also getting a lot of street level Avengers. I mean, like, we're getting hints at the Thunderbolts. We're getting hints at the Young Avengers with Miss Marvel and shit, and Spider-Man. We're just getting hints at a bigger, infinitely bigger Marvel universe, and the fact that mutants exist now. Like, Wakanda Forever is going to be a movie that doesn't move one of those plots forward. It could move all of them. Like that's why Wakanda Forever is going to be a really important movie, because it isn't just another Black Panther movie. It's going to be a movie within this phase of the MCU that can move every single plot forward, from mutants to Fantastic Four to Secret Wars to multiversal shit to Black Panther as a franchise. So, like, there's a lot to expect, and there's a lot for people to possibly judge. There's a hype train that's just possibly way too big for them to meet. And with Coogler having been okay, not tremendous, at what he did with Black Panther, there's a chance that it won't meet everything. So I'm hoping for the best, but at this point, you can't be sure that it's going to be meeting the standards that I personally would like. So what I want is a little bit of Doom, Namor, more mutant shit, and a little bit more in terms of movement for Kang Dynasty and all that shit. And also another T'Challa-ish figure. I really just hope it's not Shuri.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's Shuri. From the trailer, I feel like it's fucking Shuri.
Or it might... There's a good chance that it could be... What was the name of his love interest?
Auntie? Oh.
That would be sick, though.
Yeah.
I would like that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I would like that.
Actually, people think it's Angela Bassett. Like,
that would be so fucking sick.
There's a good number of people that think it's her.
That'd be cool.
That would be so cool.
Yeah. How about you guys? Are you guys excited for Black Panther Wakanda Forever? Please leave it down in the comments below. Yeah, that's been our video on Black Panther. Please, if you like to see more of us on YouTube, like, subscribe, and ding the bell icon to get notified of when we upload next. If you want to hear us on the go in your car, we have a Spotify podcast. If you want to see us relive our greatest moments, like we just uploaded Seb's Filipino Greatness is the Norm on our TikTok. So if you want to see that monologue, there it is.
Oh, cool.
That was an amazing monologue.
Yeah,
cool,
yeah.
I haven't seen that yet, but thanks.
But yeah, individually, for me at least, you can find me at Gandalfus1995 on IG and Twitter. How about you guys?
Oh, you can find me at JohnGOM on Instagram, and it's my art account. How about yourself?
You can find me on Facebook.com/ Slurrp Media, SLURRP Media on Facebook. If for some reason you want to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, at Seb the Harmacist. I will probably change that soon, but like, up until I have Seb the Harmacist.
Alright. But yeah, for this video at least, that's all the time we have. We'll see you on the next one. Bye, everybody.
Yeah.